Right, we are back. Welcome back to Pro Bikini News Network. Today we're going to be recapping the San Antonio Pro, the Sasquatch Pro, and we're going to be previewing the Daytona Pro and also the France Pro. So I also wanted to give a shout out to the Dominican Republic Pro, the winner Alice Marchisio. We had her winning and she won. It was great with the Olympia Amateur Latin America. I mean, the crowd was wild. I mean, we need that kind of more in the U.S. And Freddie and the team and all the judges there, they put on a great show, great production. Also Dan Gomez, who is from the Dominican Republic, helped put that all up. And I think it's great to see that crowd of people involved. It was sold out from the amateur to the pros, but I being classic and men's physique was really like the main traction for that show. We had about 9 bikini girls, so that was one thing. I felt like I wasn't going to cover it because I didn't know many of the girls. I only knew like Alice, but um, congratulations to them. I think it was great success. I'd love to see that NPC worldwide is growing and it's doing so well in their country. And I think it can continue to keep moving up. And they got a lot of talent there, even in wellness as well. But overall, this weekend, it was, pretty long for the shows, but I really felt like the winners. I felt like looking at them, I felt like things make sense. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at our winners and we're going to also talk about them and also preview the girls coming up in this next show. We are 2.5 weeks away from the Olympia. I mean, time's flying so fast. It's like, man, next week I got to start packing, get everything prepared. I paid my place with my teammates, Jay. We're staying at a place not too far off from, I think Dragon's Lair is what we're going to be at, hence why I'm wearing the shirt today. There's so many gyms now that are going to be there, and I feel like it's going to give people an opportunity to go to different places so it's not so packed. Because when I went to Dragons back in 2022, it was like an ant farm. Everything was like so cramped and congested. You couldn't really do much, but they extended their space. And I think Nelson, who's one of the employees there, said that they're getting more space. There's a new fit club opening up as well, but I think New Tech Gym with the stuff that they have there, they're going to probably be the big one, especially when they're Olympia approved. So I most likely will say that place is going to be packed, and they have over. And that place used to be a Gold's Gym, I believe, and it was like about 30,000 square feet. So yeah. So enough about that. I mean, the hype's coming up. Don't worry, I'll do. I want to wait because I want to see who else is competing this following week, and then I'll go based off. I think it's the Southern Muscle. I don't know how many girls are trying to go and get points or trying to qualify there, but I'll just after that show and I see the athlete. If I see after I see like the lineup for next week, then I'll probably start doing predictions, and it's going to change week by week. And I have a top 20 right now. Who I feel like the first two callouts are going to be. I'm probably going to pick 20 girls out of the 71. I think I know as of right now 3 girls are not in it, so most likely 68. There could be less if just some people can't get here. I've also heard things that now athletes have to fly themselves in and they get reimbursed by the Olympia. I don't know. I'm not much into that side. I'm not an Olympia coach at all. I mean, I do have athletes that I work with, from bikini, from figure, and they're in the amateurs right now. So I don't know. I'm not on that level. So I wanted to just go and preview that. I just wanted to get that out there. I am really wired in the industry. I do keep up with things. So I uploaded my episode with Ariana Brothers today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I also have another guest who's very prominent in this industry, and I have my Q&A, which you guys submitted some really good questions, and I'm going to probably do that at least once or twice, hopefully in a week, as long as it works with my schedule. And I also have a special guest, which I'm going to put on Monday, which you do not want to miss that one out. So let's go into our first show. I'm probably going to do which one? Let's do San Antonio first, because that was the one where got the qualifications first. So going to our 5th place, we had Alessia. So Alessia has always been this season in the top 10. I think one or two shows she was outside top 10, but she's always placing. She's always a top girl. She is a previous Olympian. This was a new look from her. I'm used to seeing her in a blue suit. This was kind of going like a greenish teal suit, which I think is fine on her with the blonde hair. My biggest thing, and I know this is really just kind of bothered me with the San Antonio Pro, but in person it was good, but I felt like the lighting with this fire background, I know it's a Tim Gardner production show, it takes away from the athletes and their tan. It just makes them look too blended in. It's just do something. You're in a theater and it's nice, but just, and the curtains and stuff, if you could just make that dark and just contrast it, well, it would work out so well. But this is a good look from her. I still think she needs work on her front pose. It's good for feet position. I like the hair. Like the suit's great on her. I think I'd love to see more blondes and greens. And I feel like more girls with so many red suits this year, they're kind of going with different colors that works with them. And I feel like that's a much smarter choice. I'm used to seeing a less in blue, which is, I mean, fine, but this is a good front pose. I do think, one thing about her is just, keeping her core tight and not coming in way too conditioned or way too hard. This is good for her. I do think maybe she could use a little more glute right here in the front. But yeah, this is not so bad from her. I do think that she just needs to be in the right lineup at the right time. And um, I do think, yeah, the foot position is good. I was actually just looking at it again. So I think, stage presence and what she brought with the condition levels is pretty good. But I felt like some other girls had just maybe a little more. And that's kind of what maybe put her in this position. It was a 1 point difference, I think, between her and the sixth place girl, which could go either way, which I could argue for. All right, let me go into her back pose. Here we go. So this is pretty good on her. I sometimes think she's a little too tight. Hair could be a little down more. Like I said, the tans make the lighting from the lighting and the backdrop kind of make these tans look really bad, almost blended in. So I have to like look at detail very well. Tans are pretty good. Suit cut's great on her. Because she is a taller, longer girl, she has to fill out her frame and come in full where she's not too conditioned. Sometimes she kind of gets down, and I think that's something she has to work with to, find a way to mesh those two together. Overall, this is a pretty good package from her. I mean, I think as she continues to compete, she could probably be in those top girls, but it just depends. Like the lineups here in the U.S. are just really competitive, and it's really hard to win again. She has won in the U.S. before in the past, but it's kind of hard now these days. But we just have to, it's just I think that with how lineups are, something was maybe lacking, and it's just how she poses sometimes in the comparisons. I feel like that's maybe what brought it down. But overall, this is a great package from her. All right, fourth place was Adair. Now I couldn't. Now there weren't many good pictures from NPC News Online. This one was zoomed in. This was the closest thing I could get to a front pose where versus she was transitioning. This is a good look from her. Makeup, I would, the pink, I kind of look at that first. I feel like she could just minimize the makeup where it's like not where it's like taken away from her. If it just, what's it called, the eyeshadow, if you just kind of like minimize that, it would make it look good. This is a good look from her. I like the purple suit on her. I do sometimes think she comes in way too hard, way too muscular. But I think she's just a little too lean right here. You could see it in her, and you could see some veins coming out in her shoulders. Like her shoulders are good. She doesn't need any more. Like I said, this was not the ideal photo because, like I said, it wasn't zoomed out. But this is the closest thing I could get to a good front pose from her. So it doesn't tell you the whole story. But maybe, like I said, videos and pictures it shows you got great stage presence. But I just think little things she could tweak here and there. Waist is nice and tight. And that's one thing I think she can continue to work on. Okay. Let's go into her back pose. So we couldn't get a full on back pose, but this is the closest thing we could get. I think maybe what could have brought her down was that maybe I think her glutes were just a little like too overpowering where it kind of took over where right here I feel like it's a well balanced from like lower half, but it's kind of like one part kind of stands out most. Love her hair, by the way. I just think for her, she just needs to work on like bringing in that balance, but balance from glutes to legs. And I mean, we haven't seen her on stage since I think was it the Hurricane Pro last year, so she's had some time. And so I feel like when she gets back into things, she is competing again this weekend, so maybe she adjusts some things from there, and we'll see what happens. Someone could change within a week a lot of things, and we'll see what happens. But overall, this is a good look from her. I just think right now she just needs to find a way to balance glutes to legs. All right. Third, we had Cass. I mean, she's been right there to qualify. She has a great look to her, but I sometimes think kind of the same thing. We see, you know, great in the front sometimes. Sometimes it could be like her shoulders are not like too full, or like sometimes she has distension. She's got a beautiful look to her, like great physique, great frame. She can do many different suit colors, and it works well with her. She's smiling. She has like her own style of doing things. I do think, I don't know why she does this with her foot, like having it tilted like that, but I would just kind of just relax that so it's not so much going into that way. But great front, where from her shoulders into her glutes match, great fullness right here. Great look. I just think we'll see how it goes with other girls, but I feel like she just needs to come in where she's not just too lean. But we'll see what she looks like in the back. Here we go. So I'm happy that she cropped her hair above her lower back so we can see her shape. She got a beautiful shape, she got the right width. I just think she needs to just add more upper outer glute to here. And another one thing, I don't know why, but maybe I'm seeing things, but sometimes I feel like the feet aren't like evenly placed, and like you sometimes see this leg go out here. I think if she just finds a way to adjust that and just work on the posing more, she can really improve and take a win. Tie-ins are great. Suit cuts fine. One thing is I feel like sometimes it looks a little too lean. Sometimes her adductors will be like too prominent, but she just has to find a way to bring that all in and peak right. And that's the one thing with bikinis that sometimes is always that they're the last division to go up. So just have to time it right and come in. Because of her last name being D, she's one of the first ones up, so she has to come in right on time and nail it. So it all depends on what happens, and things you can only control what you do and how you present that physique. But this is a great look from her. I mean, I'm happy to see that she's getting points, and hopefully she could get a win. I hoped that she'd be one of the girls that would qualify for the 2025 Olympia, but it depends on what shows up and what comes in at best. But great look from her. I definitely think she has a amazing physique, and I hope to see what she does next and what she brings. Eggs out. And get into our second place winner. So in second, we had Allie. We had her as our front runner to win. And I kind of looked and I was thinking, she might win the whole show. But then, I was kind of looking at her closely. It was like, maybe she was second, there was something that was a little off from her. One thing I always say about Allie, she's got beautiful look. She has a great stage presence. I consider her almost like our current day Courtney King, but with how Bikini is now. And on the face, the hair, everything. I love the red suit. I think her tan was maybe a little too dark. Like I said, lighting could have thrown it off. You do see leanness in her shoulders. She do see some leanness in her arms, vascularity here. So I just definitely think it's just filling out. Love the hair, love the suit. I think she should stick with the red suit. That's what we know her by. Posing's good right there. Like, this is a great look from her. She is a top Olympian. I do think maybe she could maybe tweak this a bit. I'm just kind of like looking at it. Like I said, it's different from, I'm just looking at pictures. I mean, if I had the video in the film, I could share with you that, but I feel like maybe she could kind of fix that a bit. I mean, this is a good pose on her. I just feel like a couple tweaks here and there. She is a first call out girl. She is a top tier Olympian. So we'll see what she does going into, if she decides to do a show, next week, or she's just going just for the Olympia. But overall, this is a great look from her, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she brings. Let's go into her back. Let's see. Go. Here we go. So we didn't get a full-on back pose, but you kind of get the idea. This is great from her. Honestly, I sometimes think she needs just a little more pop to her. If I was to say something about her, maybe she just needs maybe a little more legs. That's one thing I've noticed this year, is that people are getting so etched in, so bigger in their glutes, that sometimes it overpowers them. It's like, you don't want to look like you're almost like a hybrid wellness. She's not wellness at all. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I feel like for her, she just came in too full in the glutes, and just it kind of took over her legs. If that was to judge anything, just looking at the comparisons as well, it's kind of like who was more balanced, who was more like in line. You know, her and Jordan are almost like right here with each other. Like they're like mano y mano. You know, great look from her, great suit. Tie-ins are good. Conditioning is on point. Maybe she just needs just a little more. She could use maybe a little more right here in her tie-ins. You know, she's got longer glute inserts. You know, beautiful physique, beautiful look to her. I just think that could have been the reason. Like I said, you know, I wasn't there. But beautiful look from Allie. I'm looking to see what she can bring, and I definitely can't wait to see what she does at the Olympia. So let's go to our winner, which was Jordan. So Jordan's really been one of the most like impressive girls this season. You know, she's been competing a lot. She's, you know, doing everything, working on fixes, doing all those things. And I definitely think that she had to be the right pick because of just how proportion everything in balance were. I've always said that, you know, I think this is something that she's had. She's hard in the front and then soft in the back, but it seems that she's not so hard in her legs, but I feel like it kind of goes into vascularity. So I just think finding a way to balance that out and to come in fuller. Everything was really good for her. This is a good front pose on her. I do think, and this is just me picking at her, I would just not go with a V cut because she has a longer torso, longer limbs, I would just go like a scoop bottom for her. You know, she's got a nice small waist. Everything's good. And she's brought up her glute density a lot and she's continuing to improve. And I think that's what she's trying to do. And, you know, being at the top of the list right now and trying to get points to win to qualify. And I definitely think that's what her plan is. And going into Olympia, see how it goes. I do see her as a potential top 10 girl. But this is a great look from her. Well balanced, just like she just looks relaxed and great in her front. But I feel like sometimes it's her back that needs to match her front, and we'll see what her back pose looks like. So we'll stop. Here. See. Go here. Getting great look from her. I do like the suit cut much better. It's better coverage. It's not too thin. Hair's great. Balance from, you know, glutes to hamstrings are there. Tie-ins are there. Got great calves, by the way. But yeah, great look from her. You know, it's just gonna be on like when they do the comparisons, that's what really like sees like how long she can just keep going. But if she holds that condition and she is fuller and doesn't fade, she nails it. I mean, this is really much well improved. And you know, the show that she took third in was it Texas? I felt like I would have had her at second. I would have had her ahead, but I can see why, just how she showed up. But being one of the first ones up, it's like you got to come out right there. Then at the Olympia, I think she'll be like probably one of the first 10 girls to go up because of her last name. But if she can time it right, peak right, I definitely could see her as a potential top 10. And this is a beautiful look from her. I do love that suit. I would stick with it. We know her as the Jordan Brandon look, so I would go with that. And yeah, so that's our show for San Antonio. That was our show for San Antonio. Sorry about maybe there's a little delay there. We're going to go to Sasquatch. Let's go to our fifth place, which was Lacey. Where's Lacey? Hold on. Let me get it. Here we go. So we haven't seen Lacey since, I think, Pittsburgh this year. She's now working with a new coach. Always has an amazing physique. Always is a top girl. She's going into her first Olympia this year, so we'll see how it goes with her. I consider her like a taller Jen Dory. I think she's about 5'6". She's the overall Junior USA's winner. I think for her, I just think her front needs to be a little more, and she just needs a little more upper glute right here in her front. Maybe I'm seeing things because of the live stream was bad, but the in person everyone said it was great. I do think that could use a little more shoulders right here because it kind of looks like she's kind of thin up top. Beautiful look from her, great front pose on her. Just think a couple things could be tweaked here and there. Going to her back. All right. Her back pose is pretty good. Like I feel like she I felt like this was a much more softer look. She didn't come in like, she doesn't have that projection like we're used to seeing, you know, from up top, from like waist up top to like it's great depth, but I feel like she has amazing genetics. I just feel like she just didn't lack the like pop and projection. The tie-ins are good, but I feel like her glutes could have just used more fullness and being one of the last ones up, I feel like that's kind of maybe what affected her, especially with how long the show was. And like I said, we can only you can only control your variables, but she's working with a new coach, so she's definitely doing this to get feedback to see where she can do and improve on going into Olympia in a 2.5 weeks. So great look from her. I'm looking forward to seeing what she's going to do at her first Olympia. See what it's to for have that experience and see what it's like. Be at this level. I do always see her as a contender in any show that she is in. So that's the one thing you can't always ignore about Lacey. Yeah, I just think for her, if I was to say anything, she just needed to come more fuller. Like, but this is just too much. This is like a little too soft right here. All right. Fourth, we had Carrie. So this is, I think, her first time in the top 5 in a U.S. show. Always has great stage presence, great poser, but I feel like she just needs more upper glute from the front. And it's just her front is always going to be her biggest Achilles heel. It's, she has a thicker waist. She has to find ways to like maintain that. And I think that's one thing that she's continuing to work on. And, she came in a little more full where she's not so hard in Europe. And I feel like if she does more USA shows, she can adjust to the criteria and maybe do well, but we'll see how it goes. Shoulders are good. Green suit's fun. I mean, I'm used to seeing her in green. I like the color. I think that's how Carrie and who she is. All right, let's go to her back. Back pose, probably one of the good back poses. I feel like she just probably could use a little more legs and just a little more glute protection. Like, and you could see she needs more upper outer glutes. This is a dark forest green color on her, so maybe she could use a lighter green to help contrast with her darker hair. I just think one thing I'm looking at her is just her calves. It's like I'm looking at that before her legs and her glutes. So I just think she needs to find ways to just balance that out and bring that all up. So if she could continue to work on that, definitely could see her moving up and doing well. Also, while in her front, making her waist as small as possible as she can, because in the back she's snatched, but in the front it's kind of like thicker waist girl. Great look from her. Great physique. Just needs to balance this whole thing out, and that's the whole thing with bikini. It's a balance. It's not just it's not one part bigger than the other. It's just a whole balanced physique, and it's a whole look. But yeah, that's just my take on what I think and what she can continue to work on. Then again, I'm not a judge. I'm just saying what I see and what probably could have possibly had her placed that way. But good look from her. I'm happy to see her, get into her first top 5 in a USA show. And third, we had Lolo. So we haven't seen her since that muscle contest show that she won. She is Olympia qualified, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think all the top 5 girls are Olympia qualified. So that was one thing, to do well against these girls. Do well against someone who has done very well in show. I mean, her like Lolo and Lacey are always like at least 1 or 2 places apart in some shows. Love the purple suit. Love the hair on her. I do think she just needs to come in just a little more fuller and just work on some things. Here and there. This is a good front pose. It could be just a little tweak better, and especially where the hand position is. Beautiful look on her, by the way. Just needs to come in a little more fuller. Like you could see some veins coming out of here. Just needs a little more, roundness to her glutes right there. Yeah. I do think her foot position as well, needs to just be adjusted a bit just to accentuate her escorts. But then again, this photo's at like an angle, so could be different in person. Back pose is really solid. She has longer arms, and she has long. I don't think she's that tall. She just has longer limbs. She's very limb dominant. So, and she has shorter glute inserts. So one thing I think about her is that she's got the tie-ins. She just needs more glute projection to make that all thing stand out. She's got the whipped up top. She doesn't need more shoulders. These shoulders are like almost like maxed out, capped right there. Could use a little more fullness because you do see some leanness. You could see it right there, and the posterior delts. Hair's good, covers her back connector very well. Suit cut's great. Good look from her. I definitely think this is great that she's doing well against Olympians and top girls. So we'll see what happens and see. I think she is competing this weekend, so we'll see what happens there and what she can do to improve on. All right, second place we had Alice. So I had her as the front runner to win. I do think that she just needed. I think for her front, it's good. Um, Stage presence is good as well. I just think she just needed a little more shoulders up here because I'm looking at the first place girl. She had a little more shoulders. I think she won the back pose, but the front, I feel like it just had to make sense with the whole package. She went for more longer hair this time, which I like. I love the green suit. I love Alice in the green suit. This is a good front pose on her. I do think another thing she keep in mind. I don't think she is distended, but core control as well. Just needed to bring more up. Just needed more like oomph up top. But great look from her. Love the hair, the suit, the makeup. Like I like this physique. I definitely can see her and eventually be a top tier, like a top 10 girl. We'll see how this year's Olympia goes. If she does what she needs to do to improve on, and I definitely look forward to seeing what she does at the Olympia. She's had a great year, a lot of second places. She's like right there to win. She wins, and then he showed that she's someone to be a contender to go against. See, go to her back. So I do like this. I do like where she's brought. Suit cut's great. I think she's bending a little bit at the knees. She is a taller girl, so one thing she has to do is, find ways to fill out and bring that whole thing together. I don't think so. I just think it's just like I said. I think it's just the ankle. Like I said, it's different in person. I just think her back, great glutes, could use just a little more projection here. Could be a little more tighter. But this is a great look from her. I like the fact that it is, her hair is a little more longer. I call her Alice the Lion because I love her, like her lion, like her hair like that. And I love her style. I love her, like the stage presence that she brings. I just feel like her front wasn't enough to overtake her for the win. She has shorter glute inserts, so that's one thing that she has to work around to just bring all that in. Yeah, I mean, not bad for her. And this was good to get feedback and see what we could do to improve on it, bring things up in the next 2.5 weeks. And let's go to our winner, which was Adriana. So she just came off the win in Europa. She has competed in the US before, and I think she's been high as like, I think, fourth place. I mean, she's been a pro for now almost 6 years. She's a 4-time Olympian now. If she wins another show, she's going to be 5-time. But, I think she took, was it 23 off, I believe? She didn't compete at all in 2023. She did do some shows in 22, and I think she stopped there. I like the teal suit that she had. The red suit's great on her. This is great. The hair suit, the makeup, really well balanced. Front pose, probably the best in the show, I would say. Everything is proportionate. Her shoulders are there. I do think for her, she just needs to find a way to bring her glutes up. And she's a younger competitor. I think she's 27, 28. So that's one thing that she'll continue to do. And, this is great to get a win and, bring that momentum going into Olympia, especially getting in front of a different judge panel. And I think that's what something her coach James does. It's interracial reliability. It's, see what one judge says, see what another top judge says, and, find ways to connect and see what brings up your athlete. So he's done a great job with, him and with, Adriana and Alice Marchisio from Italy. He's doing great with the European competitors, getting the different feedbacks and see what they can do to bring up and getting in front of the top Olympia judges. So this was great for her to get in front of Sandy and, to get a win in the US, her first ever one. It means that she can go into the Olympia and be a potential girl that can move up. And maybe I could see her potentially being in that like second call out 14, 15 spot. And whoever shows up best is going to be awarded. This is an overall great look from her. I like it. So congratulations to her. Let's get into her back pose. Again, this is a really good back post from her. I do think she just need to be more in her glutes. The feet position her well, great poser. I think she wins on stage presence, like in the whole show. If I was when I was just looking at some snippets and videos and stuff, wasn't the best quality, but great stage presence from her. The suit cut's fine. You know, she's a little wider in the back, but I think she's brought it down to where it's a little more smaller, where she's not too wide and it looks almost watery. But this is a great look from her, and she has her hair in the right position, so you're not looking at her waist so much. But feet position are good, pose is good, great look from her overall. Congratulations to Adriana, and I think we're starting to see something now. I just wanted to get out of this, and I think we're done with recapping the shows. I think you're starting to see a lot of the European competitors start to take note. Like, they want to do well and they want to be a competitor here and be a contender to win and move up in place. They're starting to compete here and going to say, I got to be uncomfortable being comfortable and start to do well. And I think that's one thing you're seeing, that, Chris, Alice, Adriana, they could be some people to, be in those top spots, and they can definitely be someone to move up. I definitely think Adriana has now brought that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do at the Olympia. I'm looking forward to seeing, also Evie Escobar and other girls that are outside the U.S. coming. I know it could be costing a lot to come in and compete here, but it's like you have to think of the bigger picture when you want to move up and you want to do well. And I definitely think that those girls are taking, they're not just sitting in Europe, winning the shows. They're doing European conditioned criteria. They want to come here and they want to do well. They don't want to come here and, come up short and not play. So I definitely think it's great that some of them are willing to do that and willing to make those sacrifices. And I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these girls can do, and the ones who have done well here can do. So that's all of our shows to recap. Let's see how I did. I don't think I did well for one of them. Let's see. I got 62% in Sasquatch, and I got 73% in San Antonio. All the girls I had in San Antonio placed. I think the ones that were outside top 10 was Nikki. He's a rookie year. I was really impressed with Huda getting 6th, and then Brenda was 14th. Sasquatch, I think Savannah Watchman, I had her somewhere up there, but I feel like her tan was bad. They couldn't see her very well, and unfortunately she got lost in the lineup. So I think it was just her tan that was really bad, because she's fair skinned. That she did mention that. But yeah, I mean, this was really good. Deanna was the reigning champion. She got 8th, but it was great to do the show and get feedback and see what you could do going into her first Olympia. Yeah, great showing for all these girls as well. I do think that some of them and both of them are competing this weekend, so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to have my list right here. All right, so we're going to quickly preview France. Right. So notables, I'd say, would be Anna and Patriza. They are Olympia qualified. Rania is always someone that's up there. I would say your front runners would most likely be Patriza or Anna, because they always are the ones that do well. So, I would look out for Irene as well. But a lot of these girls don't have many wins under their belt, and I'm just looking at report card. Not many of them have won many shows. So I'd say those two are front runners to win. All right. All right, so we got a pretty good list here in Daytona. So notables, I'd say, would be Massa. Yulia is Olympic qualified. Jordan, I'd say, is our front runner to win. We have Taylor. We have Brittany Hamilton's back. Adair, we just talked about. Zofia, she just got 4th, I believe, in Janet's show. Nay, I think last show she did was Florida, I believe. Yeah, she was 4th in Florida Pro. So she's one to be looking out for. We have Sarah. She is an Olympic qualified. Carrie, we just talked about. And yeah, so I would probably go I'd probably go with Jordan winning. I'd probably have, you know, I'd say Brittany, Nay up there. Definitely Taylor. And hmm, let's see who else is up here. Oh yeah, Hope Castelli is here as well. So I think this is one thing she's trying to do as well. Like she's always been that one girl that's like right there to win it. But these lineups are getting tough, and especially when US shows with our quality is so high, it's like really hard to be competitive. But a lot of these girls, like remember, all the top girls get points, so we'll see how that goes. And speaking of the points, so I'm going to only have the top 25 in points every week, and I'm going to have anyone who's Olympia qualified. People like, I don't want to have it's like this person has a win, this person has a win. I feel like it'd be just too much. So I'm going to always put the points that these girls have right here. So whoever wins the show is going to be up in points. And there's only 20 right now. So technically speaking, if these 20 girls, right, along with, let's just say Laura Lee, Ashley, Issa, Jen, and Maureen come to Olympia, you're going to have 30 girls essentially right now qualified. So, I mean, I think if more girls are willing to compete twice and win twice, you're probably most likely going to, and I saw this page one, I think they put the numbers in. So about 45, it could possibly be 50 again, depending on how many people are willing to compete and win twice. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what these girls can do. I definitely would be looking out for them. And I do think the one going into the momentum to win is Jordan. If she nails it again, she gets her Olympia qualification, and then other girls are going to be taking points and moving up. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so that's all I have for today. I'm looking forward to seeing this weekend. Olympia's coming up fast, and I'm looking forward to it. I will get to my Q&A, but I'm going to make sure I get the good questions that you guys ask. There's some good ones, and I'm really happy to answer it. And we'll take care. All right. Thank you.